Secrets of the best poker players with Owen Prodigy Messere. The best no-limit Texas cash game poker players collide at $40,000 tables with an ante. Linus and asianflushie continue their epic high-stakes battle. Prodigy himself joins me to share his elite-level strategy and a special announcement. Don't miss this incredible action. This is Martin Rose, the voice of the pros. I'm here with the first ever high-stakes cash game world champion himself, Owen Prodigy Messere. How are you today, Mr. Prodigy?
Hey, I'm doing good, doing good. Yeah, chilling. Looking forward to seeing some fireworks go off from these two guys playing against each other. Always fun to watch look over their hands.
Yeah, so these guys are opponents of yours, so we don't want to give too much away. But we were talking
Yeah,
before about these limits that these guys are playing. So we see the 200, 400 with the ante. Can you kind of tell the people why you like this format so much?
yeah. I mean, it's like heads up, you're already playing a lot of hands, but then with the ante, you're playing like, well, yeah. I mean, if you include limping, technically both players should be playing every hand almost. Um, I think a lot of people tend to make a gentleman's agreement not to have limping. But even then, it just makes the game like so aggressive. Like you can go so thin for value because ranges are so wide. Like it's really a game you got to be. You can't hide behind a strong range in this one at all. You got to get in the mix with some uncomfortable hands and see what you can make happen.
That's awesome. So we see these two guys who it seems like no one wants to quit in this match. Flushy versus Linus, like the guys, they don't want to be the one who taps out first. Would you agree with that assessment?
Yeah, I mean, I think they've taken breaks, but I think lifetime they've played at least 80,000 hands against each other. I heard. I heard 80,000 hands, and that was last year in like December. Someone told me that. Um, and so I don't know how many they've played since, but yeah, these guys like played a lot against each other. There's a lot of meta game going on. Yeah, a long match. I think Flushy's had the edge on Linus so far, but I don't think it's been. I think it's been quite close. He's got a narrow lead, especially given how many hands they've played.
And in this hand, would you say this is pretty standard defend? You're never folding against a 2.5 x open.
Yeah. You wouldn't even fold this without the ante.
For sure.
Well, I mean, without the ante, technically it's mixed. But I feel like these guys would just defend it every time anyway. Like you don't really get to these stakes by not having but by missing that belief in your ability to make things happen with these sort of hands. I think a lot of these guys are probably going to be defending all those mixes.
For sure. So we see Linus check it over to Flushy, who c-bets pretty small, paired board. Anything to note about this sizing from Flushy here?
I mean, this is fairly standard, especially for this is for Flushy size. On like the really low pair boards, you can go a little bit bigger, but yeah, it's pretty typical.
So we see Linus putting in the juicer.
Yeah, again, it's sort of like standard, like half pot raise here. You don't really want to go much bigger on a paired board. Like there are a few exceptions, but usually this is like sort of the biggest raise size that people were using on paired boards.
And then Flushy is going to react to it with coming over the top, pretty small, but not ridiculously small either, kind of medium.
Yeah, this is what's fun about watching these guys. I've looked at some of their hands before, and I guess it makes sense that they're the ones which make it to the highlight reel. But there's like a lot of like raising and re-raising. Like Linus doesn't want to just call and like you realize your equity, but then like Flushy wants to punish that. If you're raising too much, he gets to re-raise you a lot. And so yeah, they have like this really aggressive dynamic which they've got into.
So Linus is gonna
yeah, and then it never stopped.
Prove what you were saying.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, Linus doesn't like doesn't want to give back the initiative. I mean, obviously he can have plenty of value hands here, and he has a very nice hand to like keep putting money in. Like he's got the open ender, he's got the heart for like the blocker and also the backdoor. So yeah, it's like, and you do want to be doing this. Sometimes you don't want to just get like frozen and scared because the other guy free bets you. Like you do need to be doing like some playback. Obviously this is pretty Wild West spot already, so he's it's going to be like a bit hazy around the edges. The combos might get a bit out there sometimes, but yeah, just got to take something, got to be brave.
So Flushy, he's not going anywhere. He peels, and we see this king of spades on the turn, and Linus, he's gonna go for the halfie here.
Yeah, I mean that's probably the most standard play. I imagine though it's probably, there are some other options open with this hand, I think. I mean, you could even consider, even though it's only 6 high, you could probably check call even. But like you could also check raise it. I just say you could check call because Flushy will probably stab pretty small, so you'll probably get good enough price just to hope you hit on the river. But like this is the standard play, but I just wanted to highlight that he's not forced into this line. He has a few other options open. So, but yeah, he does decide to keep barreling.
So Flushy, he's gonna call, and then Linus, he's gonna hit his straight.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, really nice to see this. One of the nice things about him playing back with 6-4 earlier was now. I mean, obviously he could lose to a boat, but it's like Flushy can't have 9-6. He'd only be able to have it if he had 9-6 of hearts, and obviously Linus has the 6 of hearts, so that's not going to happen. So it is quite. So because so much money went in earlier, it's almost like your hand is stronger than it should be. Because yeah, one of the main combos you get cooled by like folded like many streets ago, which is quite nice, and like might have been playing into his thoughts with the flop decision to go for this one. But yeah, I mean, Flushy can still have a lot of boats. So like, whilst you're obviously you're feeling pretty good to hit, you're hoping you don't get snap called.
So would you say the standard play is to just ram it all in here if you're Linus, or would he ever?
Yeah, I mean, if you were gonna check call this sort of hand strength, you'd probably want to not have a heart. You just want to unblock a few more bluffs from Flushy. Because I don't know, he could have like I don't know, like Queen 6 of hearts or something. It is probably just getting the price to continue on both streets. Yeah. So I think having the 6 hearts probably blocks just enough bluffs. Although that being said, you're probably a bit more likely to get here when you have 6-4 to 6 hearts. But I don't think this hand, like this doesn't seem like a very intuitive trapping hand. Like if I saw Linus go for the check call here, I would imagine it'd be a more exploitative decision than him doing it because the combo screamed out to him as like being perfect for it. That said, we're like way out in the Wild West here. It's going to be pretty hard to know exactly what's going on with the solver's combo selection. Like I could be missing some subtle effect which changes these things.
So we're gonna see Linus. He does go for the ram, and Flushy goes for the snap call, like you discussed earlier.
Well,
Owen.
snap call in the video. Yeah, snap call in real life. Yeah. That's it. It's kind of it's an unfortunate spot for Linus, but not much he can do once he gets there on the river. Maybe a few things he could have done on previous streams, but yeah,
a fun hand nonetheless. So now we see Flushy on the button again. Linus with the ace-9. Is this mixing in terms of pre-flop, like getting in there for 3 bets as well?
Yeah, you could throw in this a 3-bet sometimes. It's a like pretty reasonable hand to go with. Like it has this nice thing where, but one of the things about a hand like ace-9 off is it often makes strong hands but not nuttish hands. Like you don't often, you can't really make a straight, right? If you make a straight, it's going to be like a 4 straight, which is not very nuttish. But you can make some good top pairs. And so one of the nice reasons for free betting hands like this is the SPR gets shorter and at shorter SPRs, you like a lot more of the stack off hands are just like good top pairs, If you free bet and then you hit an ace or a 9, you're just like, fuck it, let's go. Like let's get all the money in. Whereas if you flat and then you hit an ace or a 9, it's like obviously you've got a good hand, but it's you're not going to try and get all the money in at like a 20 SPR. So yeah, that can be one of the reasons why these hands might like get in there and like bump it up even though they're not like the prettiest hands.
Well, that makes sense. So we see Linus just called this time, and he flops top pair against flushy. He goes for this size that we saw on our first hand, and Linus just calls. Anything to say about this flop action, Owen?
I mean, you could mix this in as a raise very occasionally. Well, it's going to depend what sizes you're using. If he's using quite a polar size, you don't really want to check raise this hand strength often. But if you use more like a half pot raise size, then throwing in some of these top pairs is quite good. And also because we're playing like with an ante, this hand is like it's a bit stronger than it usually would be. It's a more premium hand in this format. So like raising up and like barreling the turn would be a bit more normal in this format than it would be in non-ante.
Interesting. So he does just call. We see the king of diamonds on the turn. Linus checks it over to flushy, and he sizes up here.
Oh, I've seen this hand. I've seen this hand. Linus raises, doesn't he?
He does.
Yeah, I got sent this hand. There were a lot of people that sent me this hand, asked me what the fuck was going on. This one's fun. Yeah, this is okay. I mean, flushy goes for a size which is a bit small. I think Linus is just soul reading him and saying. He's just like he's literally just going. You have a7. I have a7 beat. I'm raising. That's like
Yes.
That's basically what's going on here. The problem against a guy like Flushy is this is not a live reg playing like 2-5 at the win, right? Like Flushy's like he knows that he's signaling a7. And, obviously these guys have played so much. I mean, undoubtedly there must have been times where he did this and it just was the face-up hand he represented. Like maybe not specifically. I mean, maybe like ace 4 or something makes sense. One thing I don't like about Linus's hand is if you were going to go sort of thinner to check back river with a hand from flushy, you would probably want to do it with stuff like the ace-x with the nut flush draw, those hands where it's like it's kind of nice to keep betting them because okay, if we miss we check back river, and then if we hit we're just gonna like if we hit obviously we have the nuts. But
right.
like Linus has the ace of diamonds, and so if a lot of the hands you'd be potentially owning with this are like ace 8, ace 7, ace 6, like ace 4, ace 3 with diamonds specifically, because those are the ones where I feel like it's the most tempting to carve out this bet size for. I think Linus having the ace of diamonds actually kind of makes this play a bit messy at the edges. So yeah, that's like I feel like that actually might be like I try not to get too deep into blockers. Or I mean, obviously I talk about them, but usually like when I'm playing, I try to keep it as like the icing on the cake in terms of thought process. But I think here that might just like break the play, so
Makes
to
sense.
speak. Is that
That's a fair explanation. Where it's just you want Flushy to have the ace of diamonds himself and call you down light.
It feels much more like when you have the ace of diamonds, it feels like there's a lot higher chance that you run into that you run into like an induce. It's funny to call like a B75 an induce, but like this is so clearly a spot where you could go bigger if you wanted to.
Right.
That it's like they know what this communicates. Like you using a block would be like would be absurd. Like b75 is just on the smaller end of what's reasonable.
So we see Flushy not going anywhere. We go to a river, 8 of spades.
Yeah, I think Linus is piles, right?
He does. He overbets slightly.
Yeah, and he runs into a trap, I believe.
Kind of a really high up in range hand for Flushy.
Yeah, I mean, no. Oh, yeah. I remember this has been months actually since someone showed me this hand. But yeah, I remember this. Just like I think this shows like because it's not even like the full on trap. It's like the exact hand where it's like obviously he's ahead of a polar raising range on the turn. But like if Linus's raising range starts depolarizing and starts having like ace 9 and ace 8, ace 8, ace 7 or whatever, and like having these hands to try and own like the ace 4s, then like bet calling ace queen starts like printing. Whereas like usually when you think of a trap, you'd be like, oh, like how do I get the, you'd want something more secure than this, right? You'd want a set or a 2-pair or something. But yeah, I think this is like so fucking sharp that he has like he induces this much action with like a hand which is just ahead of the hands Linus was trying to get him with. I wonder if he just like turbo snapped off the river, because that's the kind of thing where it's like if he piled this immediately, it means he knows exactly why he did it, and he got him good. Whereas if he if he tanked on the river, it kind of means he actually thought he was bluff catching. I really wish I knew like the timing on the river and whether like Flushy just like maybe took a couple of seconds just to make sure everything's all right. But like if you go deep into the tank here and then call, like then it kind of shows that then it would meant he didn't realize he was getting this response from ace 9. But I really suspect he did. And I think it kind of shows that Linus was like pretty. I mean, like, yeah, just coming back to the ace of diamonds thing, to me that communicates that Linus was really going hard after this. I think this is him saying more than just Flushy having top pair plus not flush draw. He's just like, oh, Flushy's being disrespectful. He just has a bunch of ace 4, ace 3, like all these random ace 6, ace 7 hands that I can own. That's kind of what I think this communicates. And then he has like exactly ace queen. This is such a cool fucking hand, honestly.
And this is just a cool matchup. I love watching these guys play.
Yeah. I mean, also, I don't understand like I'm like, shitting on Linus, because like it could genuinely be the thing where he just like he think like that there's like the guy understands his blockers. Like to me, the ace of diamonds would have been a red flag, but it might be that he's like notices that and then just goes and then just had so much confidence in the play anyway. But in this instance, Flushy was just a step ahead. I mean, yeah, it's just really cool play in my opinion.
So I want to get into something you were telling me about last time, Owen, your program with Guerilla. Can you maybe tell the people a little bit about that?
Yeah. So me and Yuri are working together so essentially we're releasing we're gonna be starting a new group for mid-stakes players, because we've often had a lot of like sort of promising mid-stakes players apply to get coach bars either individually or as part of a group before, and we didn't really have something viable for them. And so what we wanted was to create a group along with Growing Core where we can essentially teach them the building blocks which we feel are necessary to build like foundational win rates at like 5, 10, and 10, 20 online. And then hopefully we can find the people who are like more promising and like their ability to like adapt to like the language and the reasoning we use, and they can join like the elite group afterwards. But yeah, like just trying to get people to the right level first, rather than so that then they can get like the most out of that. But yeah, I'm really excited. I love working with Yuri. It's been great working with him over the years. So yeah, very excited to make this happen.
Awesome. So definitely check out the link in the description below for that. And let's just do one more hand here in this matchup of Flushy versus Linus. So we see Flushy open again, and Linus puts in the 3-bet here with the 6-5 of spades. Anything noteworthy to say about this 3-bet, Owen?
It's no, I mean it's pretty standard. Yeah, I'd say honestly. It's probably like it's been a while since I've looked at these anti-sims. It might just be pure here. It's probably a mistake not to, or like, or if not, it's very high frequency. And then you've always got to call the 4-bet. Yeah, 602 is just doing too well. Even if they have aces, we've got the aces crackers.
Exactly. So Linus does call. We go to the flop. He hits bottom pair here. And flushy goes pretty small. There's no reason to ever raise this. Would you say, Owen, on the flop?
It's just the kind of hand which is a bit messy if you raise. Because I wouldn't put it past Linus to find the raise sometimes. But like these hands can get a bit messy because if you raise them and get jammed on, that might sound to people where it's like, oh well, whatever, we have bottom pair. But folding, like you've got 5 outs to like trips and 2 pairs. You've also got some like backdoor straight draw potential, which doesn't sound like a lot, but and it's weird to call something a cheap price like at these kind of stakes. But you're kind of folding a lot of equity with not a lot of money behind. So it would be it would kind of suck to get jammed on, and then the alternative is like calling off, hoping that they just rip a hand like ace king or like some queen 10 or something, which is possible, but you're also you're in quite bad shape if they do have the pair. So it's like that there are a lot of ways that check raising this hand can go wrong. I feel like you'd want something which is either weaker or stronger to raise. If you have something a bit stronger than this, you can just raise call off pretty comfortably. And if you have something weaker, you can raise fold. And this is like sort of in that kind of horrible spot where like if you raise and get shoved on, you just got max pain and the only person to blame is yourself.
Exactly. So we go to the turn and it's the 10 of diamonds. And flushy just has around a pot size bet, a little more.
Yeah, that might. I wonder if this turn ever has leads. I mean, sometimes when stuff gets there on the turn in these spots, it's like out of position gets to lead because, I mean, they'll just like check call draws, and like even when they don't have a draw, that they'll have like improved. So like obviously they can have queen 9 for the nuts. But they can also have a hand like 9-8 or pocket 9s, which is like improved to like pair plus open ender. So I mean, obviously I haven't looked at this specific spot in like 4-bet pot with an ante and also with their open sizes or whatever. But it wouldn't surprise me if Linus gets to do like a little bit of leading here.
Interesting. So he doesn't this time, and flushy bets really small here on this card. Anything to say about Linus's response?
Yeah, this is quite interesting because it's like, I mean, it's quite interesting when flushy uses this size because he's kind of giving a nice price to a lot of hands, but then because he's going so cheap, it means Linus actually has to probably defend wider than those hands which are which are actually quite good on this board. Like this is a very friendly price to give a hand like 8-7, which would really struggle versus bigger sizes. It's not drawing to the nuts. Like, I mean, I guess not super struggling. Well, yeah, I mean, if they jam, like 8-7 is kind of sad. But then what this sort of does is it actually means like 8-7 can call like very easily, but a hand like 6-5 is sort of in a weird spot where it's getting a really good price to continue, but like you're drawing very, very thin, and you might be drawing dead here. Like this price might be kind of saying I can give you this really good price with these hands to continue because I mostly have like jacks and 10s in this range.
Right.
So yeah, it's But yeah, you can't just go folding tons to a quarter pot bet. So yeah, I can see why Linus comes along.
So it's a pretty gross spot, basically what you're saying. And from
Yeah, it
Linus's,
just kind of sucks.
So when you have 46K and Flushie roughly has 24K behind on this river, are you worried about Flushie having like a lot of 10x here, or he can't really have many
Yeah, I mean,
10x?
it wouldn't be unreasonable for him to bet a 10 like this. He could have a hand like Queen 10, and just like that could barrel the turn. I mean, he could have like a bunch of 10x could just bet the turn. Yeah, I mean, obviously you can have some trips yourself.
For bluffs, like what would you expect to see? Like these kind of weird 4 bets, queen highs, and
yeah, I mean, like anything which just completely misses the board is a pretty good punt. Like if you 4-bet a hand like King Deuce, it's just pretty nice to just blast that stuff. Like he'll have like he has plenty of like these high-low hands. You don't really need to have like a good draw to bluff in a 4-bet pot. Like obviously, I mean he could just like take Ace King and like blast it in over 3 streets. Although I think Ace King would just always check the river because it can beat Linus's Ace Queen. So yeah, no, I don't think he's gonna actually have to use those hands. Mostly just like any of those like high card, low card suited hands which miss the board are gonna be the main things we'll look for. He can also have some stuff like King 9 off, like Ace 9 off, like Ace 5 off. Those will be in there. Sometimes pre. Yeah, like usually when you like 4-bet in position, you just have like a low mix of like a lot of different sort of okay hands, which are like you don't want to use like super nice hands in case you have to fold them to the 5-bet usually. So you just have like a percent of a bunch of random different trashy hands. And yeah, like if Flushie has like King Deuce or something, he's not going to get scared on the turn. Like, I mean, he might give it up maybe sometimes, but yeah, he's going to know that he's got to go blast those hands in fearlessly.
So how are you feeling as Linus? Like, are you calling this river? Are you folding like once you get here? Like,
I mean, I don't think there's there's not really a very clear decision here. I don't think there's meant to be. I mean, absent an exploitative read, I think like what are you pure folding realistic? Okay, so like if you have pocket 9s, that's probably a really terrible capture. I don't think it beats anything. Like I don't think he's ever jamming an 8. So if pocket 9s is folding, pocket 7s got to be folding as well, I think. Though pocket 7s probably bluffs a bit more than pocket 9s. But pocket 9s blocks some value. But basically, what I'm just thinking is like, because it's only a half pot bet, if you have too many other hands that you want to fold first, you kind of just have to flick this in. I think you don't have tons, and like, so I think this one, this one is just going to end up mixing. I think you've got some hands which are clearly worse, some hands which are clearly snapping.
So you're rolling for this, Owen. That's what you're saying.
Yeah. I think you just have to spin this. Yeah. I mean, absent a read, I'm sure these guys have plenty of reads, and I feel like in this bigger pot, there's a decent chance that it didn't get RNG'd and he just tried to make a read.
All right, let's see the results.
There's like a lot of money on the table. There's a lot of money on the table if you make a good read here. Queens, that's I mean, Queen sort of makes sense along with I was talking about Jacks and 10s as invulnerable hands, but if you think about like one of the main hands I was talking about, how giving a good price to was maybe too generous to that hand, like a hand like 8-7. But 8-7 is drawing to a cooler against you when you have queens, right? On the 9, obviously you stack it. So it's a lot more of like, so 8-7 is kind of like, it has a draw to like trips and 2-pair, but it also has a draw to just get coolered. So it's actually quite nice keeping those hands in when you have them a bit more dominated. And like the bigger size probably makes a bit more sense with like kings or aces or like ace jack. If he wants to use it, this could just be his only size that he's using here. But like a hand like kings no diamond kind of especially feels like the kind of hand you want to bet bigger on the turn. Yeah, and then I guess the other hand you'd be giving too nice a price to would be like ace queen, and then you have 2 queens, so you block that hand as well. So yeah, this sort of makes a lot of sense to be, you know, happy to give a nice price on early streets. It's hard to say whether Linus's call down is good or not, because the thing is, when you get a half pot bet on the river, even though it's like 24k or whatever it was, you know, you don't have to be right that often. It's very easy to overbluff for those sizes. Even in, you know, even spots like this, like these guys, like if Flushie wanted to overbluff the spot, he definitely could. Like he'll have the combos, and he can go after them.
For sure. You were describing so many combos that he could be 4-bet just tripling there.
Yeah, they are all kind of mixed though. Like they're not going to be pure in the range, whereas queens is always in the range. You know, like so it's a bit.
That's why we don't know, right? That's the fun part. It's difficult to say.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Owen, for joining me on this. This is Martin Rose, the voice of the pros. Thank you so much, Mr. Prodigy.
Thank you for having me.
All right. Cheers.